Hey guys, welcome back to my journey to home birth, and welcome to Life with the Murphy family. If you like the content that we're putting out, I would encourage you to like and subscribe to our channel so we can continue to grow and reach more viewers. So, I am 35 weeks. I just made 35 weeks. It is 12 o'clock, so I am 35 weeks in one day. I'm a little late doing this video, and the reason I'm a little late doing this video, and I will get into the details of why I'm a little late. I sort of put it into my topic, so let's get right into it, you guys. Okay, I'm going to go to the Baby Center app, and it's going to show me what I usually read. I am 35 weeks and 1 day pregnant. I literally have 34 days left to my due date. The baby is about 18 1/4 inches. The baby is about 5 1/4 pounds. The baby size is about the size of a honeydew. So those are the basics. Some of the reads in here is epidural for labor pain, breast pumps, what to pack for the hospital or birth center. So I will not be doing any more epidurals. Best breast pumps, I already got all that. What to pack for the hospital. I did talk about a backup plan. So if it come down to going to the hospital, I don't know what to take with me. So let's get right into it. So I had planned for week 35 to talk about exercising on a birthing ball, prepping your body for labor. So by week 35, between 35 and 37, if I were to have the baby now, the baby would be okay. Because by the estimation of the app, my baby's about 5 pounds. So if they're under 5, then yeah, you're going to have some problems like 4 or 3 or 2. That's just too small for the baby to survive without the assistance of a NICU and things like that. And as you can see, I am huge. So I really believe it's going to be another big baby. But I had prepared to talk about exercise on a birthing ball. But y'all, I like to practice what I preach. I don't like to, anything I give out, I like to study it. I like to, either I done studied it or I'm experiencing it. So I like to practice what I preach before I give out something. And I'm going to be honest, these couple of weeks has been crazy. So I have not had the time to practice back exercise on the birthing ball, but I will soon. I want to give another shout out to my daughter, Zariah, the first home birth I had. Yesterday, on that day, December the 13th, I gave birth to my daughter down here in the dining room. So that means that she is 1 year old. And so we celebrated her birthday on Sunday because I had some things I had to take care of yesterday. And I tell you, I am so overwhelmed. We videoed and we bought her some toys. And I am just so grateful to God to see her make it that first year. It was a stressful year coming out of losing a child, a miscarriage, and pregnant again. And it was a very challenging year for Sam and I to see a baby die and bury one, and then God restore you with a new one. we really had to walk through some fears as a couple. So I'm really grateful that God got us over that, and she is living to see 1 year old. And I worried about her more than any baby, because she did come after tragic losses. So it was just challenging for Sam and I. Sam said it was more challenging for him to be on hands with her because our baby Zane, died in his arms. And I cannot imagine what that feel like. Eventually I will share that story. I have a book coming out pretty soon about it. So I'll eventually share that story. So he had to walk through some challenges as well. I had to walk through some challenges as well. And by the grace of God, we made it. So Zariah turning 1 was very sentimental to us. So I'm so grateful for that. So let's get into it. Week 35. Like I said, I was going to talk about the birthing ball. I don't like to practice what I don't preach. So the good Lord is just so amazing how he changes up my assignments. And I had started not to do the video because I just had some things going on that is just really stressful. Very stressful. And I usually do these videos around about 12 o'clock going into Monday because I work a night shift job. And I just couldn't do it. I had thought about not doing it. So I read my Bible, and something within me said, do it. Don't let things stop you from doing what you're supposed to be doing. So I went in the room with my husband and we had Bible study. And I'm telling you, I felt empowered to do this video. And so here I am. So what I'm going to be talking about in week 35 is how to handle stress during pregnancy. I'm going to be talking about the effects that it can have on you and how to cope with them and how to get your baby here healthy in a very stressful situation. Before I get started, this may be a 2-part video, I don't know. But I have a lot to go over. Let's look up the word stress. So I'm going to Google it real quick. And I'm going to give you a definition of stress. Stress. There's different definitions of it. But this one right here is a pressure or tension exerted on a material object, the distribution of stress in a uniform across the bar. The second one can be a state of mental emotional strain or tension resulting from adverse or very demanding circumstances. He's obviously under a lot of stress. A particular emphasis of important. No, that's not important. So number 2 is a state of mental emotional strain or tension resulting from adverse or very demanding circumstances. So that's what stress is. So how can stress affect your pregnancy, and what types of stress that we deal with? So first of all, I told Sam, just because you are pregnant as a mom, as a wife, as a mom to other children, life do not stop happening because you're pregnant. Unfortunately, it doesn't. Some days I wish I could be just floating on a cloud with me and my baby inside of me, nobody bothering me. But that is impossible because I have a 6-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 4-year-old, and I have a 1-year-old. And I have a husband. And I have the demands of taking care of my kids at home, and I work. So life doesn't stop because you're pregnant. So as pregnant women, we have to learn how to adjust to our circumstances and don't let our circumstances stress us out. So I'm going to get right into it. Stressing, it's a stressing during pregnancy isn't a hurt of, but overstressing can be a problem. Absolutely. I remember last year when I was pregnant with Zariah, I had a lot of personal stress, work stress, problems with, with my spouse, of doing something that I've never done before, which is a homebirth. I had a lot of attacks on me when I had Zariah, but by the grace of God, I made it. So, stressing out. My stress was, am I going to have a miscarriage? So I had to overcome that first trimester and everything. So overstressing can be a problem. So, like I said, you have to go through these things. You have to choose to live through all these stressors. So, like I said, last year I did have a lot of things going on, but I made it. So it says stress and its side effects, cause of stressing during pregnancy. Physical stress. As your baby gets bigger, I know as this baby gets bigger, I have had back pain. I cannot stand up long. I'm having Braxton Hicks cramps, excuse me. I wake up in the morning and these sharp cramps. So, and when they continue, they can cause aches and pain, which causes stress to my body. So that's physical changes in the body. Pain and aches can cause stress. Hormones. Fluctuation in hormones during pregnancy causes mood swings and discomfort. Not directly causes stress, but makes a woman vulnerable to stress. Like, any little thing can make a pregnant woman cry. I know one time I was pregnant with my third child, and I was watching something on TV, and one minute I was laughing, and the next minute I was crying. And just watching the end result of whatever I was watching had me sort of a little stressed out. So I started crying. So it was my hormones that was playing a part in making me stress over little things. So be careful with those hormones, especially when you're in your third trimester. Try not to let nothing stress you out. Juggling between a home and a career. Oh my gosh. It says those who struggle with managing their job and pregnancy simultaneously may get a little overwhelmed, which causes stress. I work a night shift job, and I can tell you that night shift job and coming home, I get off at 3 o'clock in the morning, and then I come home, sleep for a couple hours, get up about 11, feed my kids, let them play for an hour, and then I go back to sleep so I can do it all over again. And sometimes, things don't always go as planned. The kids may need me a little more, and therefore I don't get no sleep. And then when my husband get home, we're just tagging against each other 4 days out of a week. So sometimes it can get very stressful. Recently, I have had an incident that happened to me on the job, and it has caused so much stress to where it's so bad that I can't be there, because it just causes me to stress out so bad. So this is why I'm talking about this, because I've had some things to happen to me. I'm not going to try to elaborate it too much. All I'm going to say is keep me in prayer. But I have been very stressed out. And then I'm at the end of my pregnancy, and I'm just like, why is this happening to me? Why at the end, when I did so good at staying away from stress, that is happening now? And I'll get into that when I talk about the Word of God. Personal issues, tragic occurrence, relationship issues, family or financial problems can make women vulnerable to stress during pregnancy, and that is absolutely true. Dealing with my son, losing him, I thought I was okay with it. And I thought Sam and I was okay with it. But we had an incident that happened Saturday that really sent me over the edge. I fed my Zariah because we was picking out her clothes. Picking out her birthday stuff. We went shopping for her birthday stuff. And I was picking out some stuff for her. And that morning I had fed her some eggs. And I had fed her eggs before, but she threw them up. And I didn't think nothing of it. But that day I wasn't feeling good already due to job-related issues. I felt the tense and the cramps in my back, and I couldn't hardly walk. I was very frigid that day, but I was just trying to press through for my kids and my baby's birthday. But after we ate breakfast, I went to the store, and it'd been a couple of hours after we ate breakfast, and Zariah had ate some grits and eggs. And Sam just told me, Lexus, Zariah, she started coughing. And I didn't think nothing of it. But Sam like, Lexus, she's not feeling good. And he said, you may just need a holder. And I was already in my own personal issues myself. But by the time we left the cash register, and then everybody was talking because they see the kids. And some days I'm just like, I don't want to hear all that. They see that we have 4 little babies and then me pregnant, and it just draws attention to us. Everybody around us was talking. My head was spinning. My husband was like, my husband was like, Lexus, Zariah's not feeling good. He was ringing. My head was just in a whirlwind because my knee was hurting. My head, everything was I was just off that Saturday. So we went to the van, and by the time we got to the van, Zariah had bumps all over her face, and it was like she was breaking out, and she just started screaming like something. It reminded me of when my son had an allergic reaction, and it was very stressful to watch her. And then when I seen, Sam finally came back, he went and got some Benadryl or whatever. And when he came back to the van, I had to call my doula to let her know what was going on. I needed somebody to talk to in that moment. And when I looked over, I couldn't deal with the crying, because how she was crying, it was like she was itching, she was irritated. So I handed the baby to Sam. And how he was holding her just sent me in a panic, because it was exactly how he was holding Zane when Zane was unconscious and was not breathing. So when I looked over and saw how he was holding her and she was still crying, and my doula asked me, Alexis, what's wrong? Because I was short of breath. I was boohoo crying. I was just feel like I was fit to go into a panic. I just really felt like I was fit to pass out. And she asked me, she said, Alexis, what's wrong? And I said, I can't lose my baby. I cannot lose my baby. And I just broke down and I started crying, and I was just panicking. I couldn't even look at Zariah, because when I looked over at Sam, how he was holding her, it reminded me of my son, and it just sent me into a panic attack. It really did. My doula had to keep talking to me and teach me how to breathe, because I just felt myself fit to pass out. And my husband, and I just saw that same flashback of how he was holding Zane, and there was nothing he could do. But the only difference was Zariah was crying. She was responding. She was crying. And my doula just kept praying for me. And she told me that she is not going to die. She's okay. And I just was boohoo crying. Just totally like stressed out. And I did not realize that. I know I'll never be over the loss of my son. But I didn't realize that we both, Sam and I both, had a healing moment when we got home. We both cried together, because it just took us back to the day that our son died. And it was stressful that day. I hadn't really, I had just ate that breakfast and I hadn't ate anything. So I was already dealing with job related stress, and then I dealt with a personal issue, and it just sent me on a flashback of losing my son. And both of us had a healing moment that day. We never thought we would lose a child, but it just brought an amount of stress on me. So personal issues like tragic occurrence, relationship issues, and I know there are women that are pregnant and single, and that can take a toll on, you had plans to be with this man and now you're pregnant and he's not supporting you. That can bring you under a lot of stress, and you have to put that down and focus on you and the baby. Let me pause 1 second because I'm no longer in the camera. I want to see, is it still running? Yes, it is still running, but I'm going to make it into a part 2 clip because it's like at 21 and I don't want to be talking and it's still running. It only do 30-minute clips. So I'm going to pause it right here, and we're going to go on into part 2. Stay with me, y'all.